In today's video, we're gonna show you 4 habits that's keeping you poor and not allowing you to get to the riches you want. We're gonna talk about it. I'm Dr. J.
And I'm Dr. C.
And welcome to A Two Doc Minds.
Welcome to A Two Doc Minds, where we like to share ideas, create new habits, help encourage you to make better decisions to move you forward in your career and your personal life. But before we get into it, we want you to like,
comment,
subscribe,
and hit that notification bell so you can get this content when it freshly drops on the street.
Yes. Good advice. And this is going to be some good advice as well.
Absolutely.
These are 4 habits that we all should be doing to keep ourselves from getting poor.
Yeah,
We want to stay rich. We want to get towards rich, but we don't want to be poor. So if you can embody these 4 habits, this will help you to make better decisions in your financial health.
Absolutely. Go ahead now.
Okay, so let's get into it. Our first tip is paying yourself first.
Absolutely.
Which is not a good solution if you're trying to build good habits financially. What the idea should be, Dr. J, I think, is that you should pay yourself last.
Absolutely.
So how do we pay ourselves last?
So I get a paycheck every week. Say that's $100, right? With that $100, I got to pay Uncle Sam 25%. So $25 go to Uncle Sam. Then I have to pay my bills. That's another 40%. So that 40% is going away. So together, that's 65% gone, paying bills and paying Uncle Sam. Now I've got 35% left, right? What I need to do, number one, is put money away for my future. Number one, before you start buying luxury items or getting your hair done, or before you start getting a brand new pair of shoes or a new watch or go on vacation, put money aside so you can pay yourself last. That is a huge tip. You know, sometimes you may go without.
Yeah.
Right? For a while, I was walking around with some terrible shoes.
Yes.
Because I paid myself last. Because I wanted to invest in my future.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of investing in now. And that was very critical for me. Most people, they don't save. They rob Peter to pay Paul, paycheck to paycheck, but they get whatever they want because they deserve it every 2 weeks. And I'm not saying you don't deserve it, but you also deserve it and owe yourself the ability to save.
Yes, so you have a lot of wiggle room with that 35%.
Yeah.
I want a lobster dinner though every now and then, Dr. J. I want crab. I want, every shrimp there is on the planet. So what do if I really want to, enjoy it? Do I say no in that moment and say no? I have bigger priorities.
When I hit my marks on savings, when I pay my bill, when I paid Uncle Sam, and I have now a little bit of discretion, use that to pay yourself.
Okay.
Right? Use that to invest in yourself. It's not so much always dinners and buying consumer stuff, though. It's get a seminar, buy a book, go to a conference, go to a retreat and focus on your spiritual self. Doing things that's going to help you and get better.
So reward yourself in different ways.
Absolutely. Don't always think that you got to buy something expensive, right? Expensive commodity, right? To make you feel better. Get out of that habit.
I like that advice. So next one is getting comfortable with bad debt. You got to break this habit. This habit is just a financial killer.
My goodness.
So what advice could you provide us, Dr. J, with getting uncomfortable with bad debt, if you will?
So you gotta be uncomfortable with bad debt. So what do we mean by bad debt? So I had a friend of mine. I'm gonna tell you about a conversation that I just had about 6 weeks ago. My friend was like, you know what? I'm just about to pay off my car. And that car gonna free me up about $850. So car working good.
Yeah.
About to pay it off in like 2 months. And he said, you know what? I'm gonna go buy a new car.
No!
You are just in a position to save yourself $850 a month and invest it in something that's going to help your future. Stocks, bonds, art, whatever that may be. And then you blow it on a new car when your current car works just because you want a new car and you got money freed up. Comfortable with debt. And when you think of an $850 payment, if I'm doing the math quick in my head, that's over $10,000. $10,000 that could be used to do so many other things. But I'm comfortable with being at my debt limit. I'm comfortable with getting car notes.
Just put it on my credit card.
I'm comfortable with having credit cards and hitting my minimum balance. You gotta get uncomfortable. Pay off your debt. Pay off car notes, pay off student loans, pay off credit cards, personal loans. Now, house bills, I'm different because a lot of people have low interest rates. If I have a 2-3% interest rate on my house and I know I can use my money to get a 5, 6, 7, 8% interest rate to grow my money, I'm not gonna pay off my house. So don't think about houses as all that bad debt that you have that you just gotta get rid of. You gotta get uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, and I think it's also each consumer is different, of course.
Yep.
Each situation is different. So you definitely have to look at your own individual situation and make the best decision at the time that is good for you.
Yeah.
But in general, breaking that comfortableness with bad debt is a good step in the right direction.
Yeah, and I had a person that I was just speaking to not too long ago, and they said, well, Dr. J, I don't have any money at the end of the month. And I was like, how you working? She was like, I'm working about 45, 50 hours a week, and all my money goes to paying all my bills. I don't have any discretion. I barely have enough to just do the normal things. I said, well, what's your side hustle look like?
Oh, wow.
And they were like, well, what do you mean? Well, you spend 40, 50 hours on that job. Where's your second job? You know what I mean? You got a lot more hours in a week and a day. So if you're spending 9 hours at one job,
Right.
well, that's 24 minus 9, you still got, 15 hours left. So go get you another job, 5 hours, and then use that to pay off your debt so that you can create more discretion. Do what you gotta do. Rent out a room. Do what you gotta do. So I didn't mean to jump on that too long.
That's okay. I see that you are very passionate about that, and I think people need to hear that as well, because these are the habits that are keeping you poor.
Yep.
And we are trying to give you some tools to make better decisions so you can put more money in your pocket,
Absolutely.
more money in your savings, and build some wealth for your future.
So you don't have to keep on being
Working for that dollar.
working for the dollar.
So next tip is stockpile.
Oh my goodness.
Stockpiling is a very important technique that a lot of people may not have been taught growing up. And as you become adult, you should expose yourself to stockpiling, expose yourself to ways to really prepare yourself for the unexpected in life. And what does stockpiling mean to you? Well,
from what I understand it to be is people go to a grocery store, for example, and they see a box of cereal on sale and it's 50 cents cheaper than it normally is. So I'm going to buy 20 boxes of cereal.
Because it's 50 cents cheaper?
Because it's 50 cents cheaper. And I end up eating only half of those boxes because the other half went stale.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm spending money that I don't need. But it's just like having a big store and you have all this inventory on the shelf and you're not selling it, but you spent money on that inventory. That's the worst thing you have. You want that stuff to come in and out. So don't stockpile groceries or don't stockpile a whole bunch of books or anything. Get what you need and then save the rest. Just because you see something for 5 cents off, don't feel like you have to buy 1,000 of them. Just get what you need and move on. Get what is going to get you through the 2 weeks. Have your emergency stockpile there and then keep it pushing. Don't let it grow and grow and grow, because what's happening is you end up wasting it. And every time you waste a bowl of cereal, a carton of milk, some mayonnaise, cheese, every time you have to throw that away, that's money that came out your pocket.
Well, let me just make a clarification. I think stockpile can work for the good and it can work for the bad. So we're talking about breaking the habit of stockpiling things that you don't need or that you can't fully utilize. Like Dr. J, you mentioned cereal. That 50 cents is so attractive and it works because it's a marketing tactic.
Yeah.
I want to buy 10 boxes because it will save me this amount of money. It ends up not saving you because you throw so much of the food away. But stockpiling things that you probably will save you the headache and save you the costs in the future sometimes works in your advantage.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so if it's something that you utilize often, right? Like, for example, I drink a lot of bottled water, and because I don't drink as much from the tap. So I buy cases and case of it because it's cheaper. But I know I'm going to roll through a case of water every 4 or 5 days. So I buy 5 or 6 cases so I don't have to run to the store every 4 or 5 days. So it works for you or against you. You have to know what's going in and what's going out, so that you can make the best decision on what you need to stockpile and what you need to let go. And if you find yourself throwing a lot of things away, that means you're doing it probably wrong.
Right. Good advice. So our last advice for how to break the habits of keeping yourself poor. These are habits that are not working for you, but they're working against you. But before we get to the last one,
yes,
what should we do?
Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because we drop this hot content every day. But more importantly, you're going to learn a lot by listening to our channel, because we try to share with our audience what helped us make us to be successful and helped us to grow financially.
Used probably a lot of these
Absolutely.
tools and techniques,
Yeah.
and it saved us a lot of headache.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we like to share it, because it's real.
It's real. It's real.
Mm-hmm.
We are living proof that
Right.
if you change your perspective,
Right.
everything else can change for you. So go ahead.
The last one, if you don't know this, you should know it now. Knowing your income and knowing your expenses. Now, I'm not saying you know what you make and you know what you spend just on the surface level.
Yeah.
Know what you are spending and know how much income you're bringing in.
Yeah.
So you can understand it and you can own what you're doing right or what you're doing wrong.
Oh yeah, it was interesting. Basically, what you're saying, you need a budget.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
You need a budget. Like, you just don't spend every month without knowing what you're spending your money. You need a budget. When we first started our first budget, it was been years ago. I mean, talking about years ago. We're like, oh my God, we're spending a whole lot of money on entertainment, DVDs, going to the store, going to the movies, going to plays, going to concerts. I was like, I just spent thousands of dollars on that, and I didn't even recognize it, because I'm buying a little here, a little here. I want the better seats, so I'm spending a little more. And the next thing you know, and then I go and then I buy food, and then I buy a shirt, right? And the next thing I know, I got a $4,000 bill, right? And then once we became conscious of what we were spending on, we put ourselves on a budget. We didn't stop ourselves from being having an entertainment budget, but we shrunk it to a couple of $100. And then now we were able to save that extra money and invest it in other things. So having the budget, knowing what you're spending on, even if you're just making it by and maybe not even able to save a penny, then you now know where your deficit is and what else you have to do to try to bridge that gap.
Yes, I think budgeting is such a cool tool to use in business and in your personal life. It will tell you things that you didn't recognize, like you said, Dr. J. Like, sometimes you can look at your insurance bill and say, oh my gosh, last year my insurance bills was like $50. Now it's my insurance bill went up triple or double. So that gives you the power to act, and it gives you the power to make better decisions.
Because you're budgeting, you know what you're spending, you know what you should be spending, and when something goes awry, you change it. One thing that we learned, this is a trick that I'm going to give you. This is a special trick from Dr. J and Dr. C.
Yeah.
We do this, like, for example, with our internet, our cell phone bill, our cable bill. Well, we don't have cable now, but with some of those bills. So we have internet. We try to get the 1G service, really high-speed internet. So the promotional was $59 a month if we signed up for 2 years. So after the 2 years, the thing ramped up to $149.
What happened?
So this is what you should do. Call and say, I'm counseling. Then they're going to send you to the cancellation hotline, and you're going to go to that last chance person. They're going to say, if we keep you at $59 for the next 2 or 3 years, would you stay?
Of course.
Of course. Right? But even if you can do a 10% discount on top of that, you definitely will give me for a little longer.
Yeah.
And that really helped us push a lot of those things down.
It helped us because we looked at our budget. We said, these are the costs that we're paying. What changed? It empowered us to ask questions. And it also will empower you to say, you have more power as a consumer than you think. You should always contact people that you're paying, because you are, in essence, their most important client.
Your customer.
Everybody is the most important customer. So call and ask questions and see what you can get out of that.
Absolutely. So if you like this content, I want you to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes.
I'm Dr. J.
I'm Dr. C.
And thank you for watching A Two Doc Minds.